Everybody, Jason Burmis here, and let's just get into it. What's the latest on this very, very suspicious suicide of Jeffrey Epstein? Because let me tell you, a lot's going around. A lot of the theories, unsubstantiated claims. Apparently, AG Barr is being reported as livid. I believe he's going to be giving a statement on this case, or has given a statement. We're going to read that. On top of that, the FBI has taken over the investigation. Now, there are reports of supposed camera malfunctions in the prison, but so far I've seen them not be substantiated. We have some alleged death photos of Epstein, and we're going to get into all of that right now because, guys, obviously this is a huge, huge case. And can we trust the FBI? Do we think just because AG Barr is now behind it, it's a trustworthy organization? We've gone over some of the dirty, dirty deeds of these people. And remember, Barr had to recuse himself from the initial DOJ investigation, and I went over that 3 months ago. We're going to revisit that a little bit later. So the FBI is now in charge, and as I said before, Bill Barr is supposedly livid. We're going to read into that over this apparent suicide, but we're going to get there. Now, again, I want to talk about Barr's recusal. If you take a look here, we were all over Acosta months before all this happened. This is 3 months ago. And Barr had recused himself and said he had to recuse himself to Ben Sass in his first day of confirmation hearings. And when we get into that, we're gonna get into every little bit of it, okay? But let's read this article right now because I think it's pretty important. Jeffrey Epstein has hanged himself inside his New York City jail cell, and that's what they're running with. It's death by hanging. The billionaire pedophile was found in cardiac arrest shortly before 7 a.m. on Saturday at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Lower Manhattan. And remember, there are now reports saying that he had just been taken off suicide watch. Some are claiming that very day before this happened. Thank you, Port Film. He says he's not dead, at least has a different... See, again, all this different nose stuff. Guys, I'm looking at that, and I'm looking at the ear stuff, and you're going beyond the pale. I'm telling you now. Different angle lenses, different angles of people, lighting, it can change a lot. Watch a person change their face just with makeup that knows how to do it. Okay? I've been behind a camera for a long time right now. All right? I've been accused of being Mark Dice. That's a true thing. I've also been accused of being a shape-shifting lizard. That's not what we do here. The billionaire pedophile was found in cardiac arrest shortly before 7 a.m. on Saturday. Now, I've heard conflicting reports. We heard between 6:30 and 6:39, I believe, at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Lower Manhattan. He was rushed to a nearby New York downtown hospital where he was pronounced dead. In a statement, Metro CC told DailyMail.com that the FBI is now launching an investigation into Epstein's death. The former financier, 66, was awaiting trial on charges of conspiracy and trafficking and was held at the high-security complex without bail. Now, again, there are reports in the Washington Post that he said he had been attacked and there was an attempt on his life several weeks ago. Okay? Epstein's suicide comes just 2 weeks after he was hospitalized following to have an initial attempt to take his own life. This is stuff, I'm not going to lie, it's super beyond the pale. Super beyond the pale. Thank you, MK Ultra Magic Kool-Aid. I've also been accused of being a reptilian. Cheers. Yeah, it's tough out there. We try to keep sanity and discernment in this arena. Epstein's death raises serious questions that must be answered, Barr said in a statement on Saturday afternoon. In addition to the FBI's investigation, I have consulted with Inspector General, who is opening an investigation into the circumstances of death. This is, again, unreal. Unreal. Meanwhile, a number of other high-profile Washington figures have demanded more information as to what happened. Yes, I saw AOC asking what happened. Klobuchar and Gillibrand are demanding transparency. It is unbelievable. This is a fairy tale land that this was able to have happen. Okay? So let's go to some of the reports here. I want everybody to check these out. Where are we? This is from the other night. There we go. Okay. So the Washington Post, in this, people close to Epstein fear he was murdered. As Epstein told authorities, someone tried to kill him in a previous incident weeks earlier. He was described as being in good spirits in recent days. And again, they should have been under full supervision. If you've got new information, by the way, please DM it to me, but make sure it's good information, or at least decent information. So here he is. He's apparently livid. All right. He's determined to get to the bottom of this. Now, if you saw my interview, and remember, we're going to get to Barr, I think, right now. He recused himself in the first case and decided not to recuse himself from this one. Okay? And I was actually happy he didn't recuse himself of this one because it was a separate case, and since he wasn't there and wasn't bound, I would have thought that he shouldn't have had to, and he couldn't have spoiled the pot, whether they wanted to charge him with that anyway. But let's revisit this right here. This is him and Ben Sass talking about the initial case, and I'm sorry about the feedback, guys. There's not much I can do about it, so we're going to get there.
General, I'd like to return to the disturbing topics of human trafficking and sex trafficking. You've answered a few questions here today. I'd like to look at the November 28th Miami Herald investigative series that I know that you followed into the crimes of Jeffrey Epstein, and I want to quote from that. Epstein, a wealthy hedge fund manager, quote, assembled a large cult-like network of underage girls with the help of young female recruiters to coerce into having sex acts behind the walls of his opulent waterfront mansion as often as 3 times a day, close quote. The report continues, he was also suspected of trafficking minor girls, often from overseas, for sex parties at his other homes in Manhattan, New Mexico, and the Caribbean.
And let's stop that. Remember, guys, we were one of the first people yesterday to go through these documents and show you that, you know, again, we had a 15-year-old girl who said she didn't know how she got back from the island after she was trembling in fear, shaking, okay? I mean, you need to read this stuff. This is on pages, I believe, 15 in the Guthrie Unsealed documents. They're all over the place. Tony Figueroa was named. Ronaldo Rizzo was named. I mean, this girl had her passport taken. This is a real deal. This was a lot worse than the reports that we had, okay? The official stuff. I want to make that very clear, and there was a lot more to go through, and now that we know that she named Bill Richardson the government of New Mexico where he had this ranch, we need to bring in everybody. This was a network. It wasn't just blackmail. It wasn't just one guy and pedophilia, all right? It was arms deals. It was black operations. It was all sorts of military-industrial complex, deep state activity. Let's see, we got a new super chat. Let's go to that really quick. As soon as I heard about this, the first thing that came to mind is I wonder what Jason Burmis will have to say about the situation. Keep it up, bro. Yeah, you got to see my other videos on it. So again, Bill Barr is trending too right now. That's why we're really getting into this. But again, Ben Sass is bringing it up to Barr right now.
The Herald series continues, quote, in 2007, despite ample physical evidence and multiple witnesses corroborating the girl's stories, federal prosecutors and Epstein's lawyers quietly put together a remarkable deal for Epstein, then age 54. He agreed to plead guilty to 2 felony prostitution charges in state court, and in exchange, he and his accomplices received immunity from federal sex trafficking charges.
And remember, his accomplices are now being named, and we know that 3 of the employees at least are working together, or were working together in this indictment, because who knows where this case goes, even though racketeering, conspiracy, and all that. But remember, it came out, and then Acosta dodged the question after he was forced to resign because of the scandal, that what? Epstein was apparently intelligence. And then after he denies anything about it, all of a sudden this passport shows up, issued from Austria, with a different name, with a Saudi Arabian address. All right? That's reality, with stamps in the UK, Spain, France, and Saudi Arabia.
That could have sent him to prison for the rest of his life.
Oh, here we go. Come on.
He served 13 months in a private wing of the Palm Beach County Stockade.
And that's
His
in
alleged
question.
co-conspirators who helped schedule his sex sessions were never prosecuted, and the deal, called, again, this is the Miami Herald, a federal non-prosecution agreement, was sealed so that no one, not even his victims, could know the full scope of Epstein's crimes and who else was involved, close quote. The fact that federal prosecutors appear to have crafted this secret sweetheart deal for a child rapist obviously enrages moms and dads everywhere. On this particular case, will you commit to making sure that there's a full and thorough investigation into the way DOJ handled the Epstein case?
Now, remember, this comes up. We do end up having an investigation.
So, Senator, I have to recuse myself from Kirkland and Ellis matters, I am told. And I think Kirkland and Ellis was maybe involved in that case. So I need
Maybe involved in that case, as if he wouldn't know that Kirkland and Ellis was involved. See, this is why you can't believe any of these snaky politicians. Not about right or left, guys.
to sort out exactly what my role can be. But, I will say that if I'm confirmed, I'll make sure your questions are answered on this case.
Thank you. The Deputy Attorney General, obviously there have been media reports about the timing of his potential departure post your confirmation, and the DAG, as you well know from your prior history, has a key responsibility in deconflict.
And again, guys, Barr didn't recuse himself from the latest one.
Those of us who've been pressing on this matter have found in different parts of the department a lot of anxiety about the way this was handled, and yet kind of a hot potato of a bunch of people thinking they're not responsible. Right now, Rod Rosenstein has been helping, trying to deconflict some of that, but I'm worried if, with your potential recusal, if the DAG also departs, it's not clear who's going to actually deconflict this. So I'm grateful for your pledge that the department will be responsive, even if not you personally.
And remember, though, with that investigation, they said that the deal had to be upheld. That's why he was in a New York prison. Although I can't understand for the life of me why federal agents still wouldn't have been surrounding him, especially after the first suicide attempt, and apparently these reports from the Post that he said he had been attacked. This is inexcusable. And remember, he recused himself from this first deal.
That's right.
More broadly than the miscarriage of justice in this particular Florida case, would you agree that justice has nothing to do with the size of your bank account or the number of attorneys?
Bullshit. Of course it does. That's how the system works.
Yes.
I agree, and I think that a whole bunch of Americans wonder about the Department of Justice and how we're trying to prioritize, or how we should be prioritizing our responsibility to the victims of sex trafficking who are left afraid and voiceless. In this particular case, many of the women who were clearly victims, trafficked, rape victims, had no awareness of the fact, and I think in violation of federal statutes of victim notification, that this non-prosecution agreement had been agreed to, and not just that Epstein and his co-conspirators were not indicted, but the rest of the
not indicted. Given sweetheart deals.
Investigatory matters of the department were also suspended. It seems truly bizarre.
And remember, guys, the Maxwell documents, that's what these are. These are defamation case documents. These are naming other players in the network outside of that indictment, and somehow Maxwell, with 30-plus accusers that she was a serial child abuser and basically not only a procurer but a teacher of how to sexually please Epstein and then his cohorts, she walks free today. This isn't even a criminal indictment. This is a 15-year-old crying Swedish girl who had her passport taken, and she doesn't know how she got back from the island into this thing after she said she was trying to be forced to have sex with Epstein. Let's read that. In distress, the 15-year-old girl tearfully explained to him the defendant tried to force her to have sex with Epstein, through threats and stealing her passport. Why is this person not in jail? Remember, daughter of Robert Maxwell, media magnate, Israeli Mossad, super spy. Intelligence connections everywhere. Everywhere. And Maxwell needs to be put into a federal jail cell under 24-hour supervision with a body camera on her.
I think moms and dads watching this hearing would like to know that you will pledge broadly to attack sex trafficking as a scourge in our society on both the supply side and the demand side, as these dirtbags demand this, but on the supply side as organizations clearly perpetrate these crimes. Can you pledge to us that this will be one of your priorities at the department?
They can count on it.
Thank you, sir.
They can count on it. Well, let me tell you something. Again, the DOJ kind of dropped the ball. I was giving them credit. The NYPD came in, and they did a lot, and somehow we couldn't keep them alive. We couldn't keep them alive. This is unbelievable. I know there's some people that think it's like an Operation Swordfish deal. I mean, anything's possible with the kind of money and influence the guy had and the kind of intelligence connections he had. But, I wanted to go through some of these tweets by, some of the establishment figures out there in the mainstream media. And remember, Joy Reid, a lot of people don't realize this because she fell into the Russiagate nonsense, but she spoke a lot of 9/11 truth back before she was, MSNBC famous, and she just had a radio show. I want to put that out there. And she talked about how corrupt Barr's organization is. And, we had that discussion yesterday with Whitney Webb. I want to encourage people to go not only check out my interview with Webb, the Epstein Mega Connection, which is a vital tool in this network I talk about, but go check out her 3 articles here that are going to take you about an hour apiece, and a 4th one coming, about the network and the history of that network surrounding Jeffrey Epstein. So let's get back to Zero Hedge. Where were you? Bam, there you go. So Paul Krugman says, if we were living in a paranoid fantasy universe, I would be very suspicious about the Epstein suicide. Would you, Paul? Even about whether it was really suicide. Would you? And you know what? The Epstein case itself shows that we are kind of living in a paranoid fantasy universe. I mean, when Paul Krugman's laying it out that easily, and I'm agreeing with what he says, it's pretty bizarre. It is paranoid fantasy land. NBC News, Jeffrey Epstein was not currently on suicide watch. Remember, there are conflicting reports now that he wasn't even on suicide watch when found in his cell this morning. He was, however, housed in his own cell without other inmates. So apparently not having that secondary inmate, which was insane in the first place. Let's see. Anything else really good? Yeah, it's tough out there. Again, all this stuff, how long ago? I mean, it's been everywhere. There should have been cameras everywhere. Exactly. So let's keep going down the line. Again, I want to reiterate that this comes literally less than 24 hours after we get a bunch of documents. And among those documents, it says that New Mexico governor, the New Mexico governor here, former one, here he is. Let's take that down. Bill Richardson, Bohemian Grover. Luke Rudowski did a great confrontation with him. Only takes a couple minutes of your time to check that out. It was one of these people. Remember, he had that New Mexico ranch. There was talks of possible eugenics operations where he wanted to have cryogenics and all sorts of other stuff. Let's see what we got here. Someone says, funeral, who gains from his death? Hey, I remember when they had Ken Lay on, let's go to that. Ken Lay, check the coffin cover. So this is, I understand why people are asking this question. But yeah, I remember when this is it. Check he's in it before they put Cheeto Lay's coffin in the grave. Anything's possible, guys. Let's be honest. Anything's possible. So, I mean, they put that on the cover of the New York Post. That's way back in the day. And remember, here you go. Bigger names were coming out, although they didn't give us the second prince. They didn't give us the prime minister. But Bill Richardson, he came in. And remember, everybody wants to talk about Prince Andrew and his royal ties, but he's their arms dealer as well. Think Khashoggi. Okay? So let's see down the line if we got some new information. I'm not sure that we had anything else there. See, this is the alleged camera thing is coming from Twitter, and I'm not seeing any backing up on it. Nothing. However, this was interesting. So we still have that going, yeah.
45 years in jail, which essentially for a 66-year-old man was a death sentence, and that he was reportedly considering cooperating and naming names and others that could have reduced that sentence.
So was he considering cooperating? I don't know. I have no idea, but that's out there in the mainstream as well, folks. If you like my reporting, If you're new to the channel, please, now is the time to join the Burmis Brigade. Hit that subscribe button. Thumbs this up, share it with others, post it on social media, get it on Reddit. I ain't new to the game. I've been reporting on this case since it was around. And for the last couple of years, I've been doing some of the biggest work out there. You can check out that past work over at We Are Change and News for a Change. But if you like seeing 3, 4, 5, 6, sometimes 7 videos a day on subjects that matter, this is the channel for you. We go beyond the left, right, conservative, liberal, false political paradigm, and we go after the actual predator class here. So please subscribe, and if you can support me, I'm only doing this through GoFundMe. We're not even 3/5 of the way there. I would have liked to be 2/3 of the way there since we're 2/3 of the way through the campaign, but we are going to press on with your help, and I thank you so much. Thank you for letting this channel grow, and once we hit 30K, we're going to be able to do a whole lot more. So with that being said, with news and updates, I'll be back on the Epstein case and a whole lot more. Thank you so much. We'll see you on the flip.